Just
For the first Force podcast.
Woo!
sound effects.
Explosion. So you have Matthew Thomas. We
AKA
have
Toff.
Phillips,
Hello.
We have Luke Jeffries. We have... I'll just say your last name, right?
You joking me? You're working there like 9 months.
HRH. HRH. Space.
Ryan White and myself, Kieran Prosser.
His Royal Highness.
We got our drinks in. Might be some swearing.
Yeah, we don't know how this is going to pan out, so
Have we got
bear
drinks?
with this. I haven't. I've still got a hangover from Friday, so
And a whistle.
You did drink 10 litres of cider, that's fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, what are we here for? Just to give you a rundown, I think, isn't it, of how we started training, our thoughts, philosophies, and where we want to take our training, and how we can improve as coaches. Is that about right?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And a lot of like divergent subjects we'll probably come on to on the way.
You know what we're like, we
Yeah.
never stick on track.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, so I don't think it'll just be totally training or nutrition related. I think it's going to be a lot of lifestyle things we do. Stop laughing at me, Ryan. things that we do outside of the gym to sort of de-stress and that we enjoy. Or add more stress in some cases.
Oh, dear.
I need more degrees.
Yeah. We're good on that route. That's fine.
Right, who's going first then?
I don't mind. Who wants to boot it off? KP, see as you are head trainer.
Yeah, go on.
Put me under pressure. But so what's the main...
Should we introduce the first topic?
Kind of...
Should we introduce the question to start with?
Yeah,
I think that might be a good idea, really. Isn't it?
Nothing in my mind. It's just I want to make sure I'm clear with my answer.
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to sort of have a chat about today is when we first started training and the reasons why we first started training. If you want to drop a little bit of the mistakes and things we wished we knew back then into that as well.
I wanted to be massive. So I played sport from the age of 10 and didn't actually enter a gym until I was probably 19, I think it was. And it just seemed to be a trend at the point where all my mates were just taking protein shakes, every supplement under the sun. The only muscle groups we were training were upper body muscle groups. We were training 5-6 days a week. I think the more consistent plan I followed was Monday to Friday was upper body, Saturday was core, Sunday was off. And I kept repeating that forever and a day. It was the heaviest I've ever been. I was like 15 stone, could bench 170 kilos, but I couldn't squat my body weight.
Wow.
Shortly after, I got a hernia.
Bro, would you look at that? Shock horror.
Yeah, no, but
We say that everything's linked in fitness, and that may be one.
yeah, I got a hernia playing
Bench
rugby.
up.
It was a good bench, but it was probably when I was the worst at rugby because I couldn't run a bath.
You couldn't maneuver your own weight.
It was awful. You give me a short ball and I'd knock like 4 people out of the way because I had a good bench.
I know exactly your body type there.
You were like Bender or Futurama when the ball was coming towards you, like just rotating to one side.
I'm just imagining like a Johnny Bravo sort of figure. Like,
Yeah.
really small legs just running around like that. Like,
Looks
upside down
like
triangle.
really struggling. But,
No thoracic rotation whatsoever, just one plane.
now, I think I lost.
like a walking Dorito. Almost.
I've done that for, oh dear, I think I probably done that for about 3-4 years. That's when I picked up most of my injuries during sport. Not sport on the head because I kept getting injured, and pursued a career in personal training and strength and conditioning, and done a degree in sports science. And then as I was learning more on the way, being in force and being around more positive people, I found myself drifting from that kind of mindset then. The more I learned, the less silly mistakes I was making. So, hindsight's a wonderful thing. My body's not thanking me for it now because I probably have the stiffest hips and stiffest spine in the world. But
mid-back made of concrete.
Yeah, but I don't know. I would have said the worst. If I could give anyone a tip going forward, I would have said that seek advice, because that's probably the one thing I never done. I never asked someone who knew what they were on about what to do. I just jumped in and thought I knew what I was doing.
100%. Yeah.
And then because I thought, if something was sold over the counter, naively, I was like, oh, well, I'll take that because it's sold over the counter. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Oh, it must be right. It must be true what they're saying. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
wait,
exactly.
It's got a label on it.
Especially when your
Yeah.
friend is doing it as well. You think, oh, go on, and I'll do it as well.
Yeah.
And it's just all part of growing up, I think. But when I took my pro hormones, that was when I put on the most weight and I enjoyed it the most. But when I stopped taking them, I didn't understand what they were, didn't understand the negative consequences it would have on my body. And I soon lost my shape. I soon lost my strength. I soon lost my kind of confidence and my energy to train. And training went down the pan for quite some time then. I would have probably said about a year. I was still working. I'm still working as a gym instructor and a personal trainer, but I would have said, training went out the window, especially when I was in uni as well. I was concentrating on my studies and never ever really went in the gym. So would have said I'd done the full cycle, and I would like to think now I'm in the best position I've ever been in. But you never stop learning.
No, definitely not.
Definitely. Move forward all the time, innit?
I try to do that in a nutshell. I try to wrap that up as quick as I could, and kind of highlight the biggest mistakes of my gym career.
I'd say that was perfect.
Gym
To be honest, Keith.
training life.
Okay.
Who wants to go next? Jacqueline, the order of age hierarchy? Or?
Oh,
Go for it.
if we go in age, then that's me way and above, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Should have thought of that one, really, shouldn't we?
Shall I go next then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sporting career, I guess. Started playing football, I think it's about 9, 10. Played football till I was about 20. When was my eldest born? 21, 22. Throughout football, athletics, cross country, all different types of athletics, sprint, jump, throw, long distance, middle distance. Basically, I had a set of legs and they used to try and make me do everything. Got into gym sort of 18, but it was nowhere near, oh yeah, this will help me play sport. It was just, I want a decent set of arms and a nice chest, I'll do. Thank you very much. Just put a vest on in the summer. But being 19 and made of paper, I gained absolutely zero muscle and wondered why. Ate like a pig and wondered why I couldn't put any weight on. I think then hitting 20, when I go back to uni, 22, sports science degree. Halfway through that was like, if I want to work in sport, I probably should go and work in sport. So got some work experience in football, picked up strength and conditioning from there, strength and conditioning masters. That then got me to force, and that's kind of when my training really took a proper direction. So it took, best part of 6 years to try and find some decent direction, and actually do something properly, rather than just go, I'll do this for 6 weeks, and then I'll do that for 6 weeks, and 3 weeks through just end up doing something completely different, or curls and biceps. And I think finding weightlifting was a big turning point for me. My concrete ankles don't leave me any better at it, but it's kind of one of those things where if you do not follow a plan and try and improve the small elements, the larger element of the two full lifts are never going to get better. If you don't try and work on the smaller parts, you're never going to get a bar above your head competently. And then that kind of leaves me where we are now, broken, trying to Olympic lift, hurting most days, about as mobile as I am Groot. Yeah.
I think you knocked the nail on the head, though, when you said about kind of, in a nutshell, the one thing that I picked up from that is you built an appreciation for understanding why something's happening. And
unbelievably so, yeah.
If I could put that into my kind of like training lifetime, I would have said that like I constantly was getting bad lower back all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to just think it was my lower back is the problem. But then the more I learned and the more I realized it was something else. It was my hip mobility, it was my glute strength. And it's the same with Jack now. So, I think always seek to understand something, and always kind of, if like we're S&C coaches and it's our job to go and find out and learn ourselves. But for other people, general public, ask S&C coaches.
Yeah. I think that's
don't
what
be
my
afraid to ask.
I think that's
Where
where
S&C coaches
fascination
ask.
came from.
Yeah,
There's a step-by-step. Something caused something somewhere along the line, which means you need to change something or build something or fix something or do something to fix that. There's a step-by-step guide if you know where to look and what to ask.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say the best coaches that sorry.
Carry on.
You sure? Yeah. So say the best coaches that I tend to follow and stuff, they seem to have quite big networks. And like you said about yourself asking the right people, and I think Kieran mentioned something as well. Like the more you can ask people, and the more you can have that. I think people get quite proud, don't they? And say, "Oh, I'm not going to ask people. I'll just do it myself."
Yeah.
But the earlier you can say, "Oh no, I'm going to ask the right people and reach out a bit," that's when things to go a bit better.
Yeah, I think we get the best results in staff meetings, don't we?
Yeah. I don't mean to be stereotypical, but there's 5 of us here, and I can hold my hands up and say that is more targeted towards men than women. Like men.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I can get out there. And
it's just like the old instruction manual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get a flat pack. I often use instructions. I'll put that up myself. 20 minutes later, you got half of IKEA stuck in your head.
Wondering why when you're done, there's 7 bits left over.
Saying to your missus, I don't know what's going on here, right? I don't know what's going on.
This flat pack's faulty. It's got to be.
It's terrible. Taking it back.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault. Oh, amazing.
So would you say your key take home is then paying attention to the small details, like the foundations that are then going to build on to future into your future?
Yeah, like have an idea of what causes what. So like I spent years in football boots, running spikes, and I wonder why my ankles are broken. Pay attention to stuff that's going to impact you later on down the line. It's always the same. You see 19, 20-year-old lads coming in rounded as hell. So what have you been doing for the last couple of years, boys? Oh, I bench every day. All right, and you play rugby? Yeah. But I popped my shoulder 6 times. Oh.
Did you run into
Yeah.
Did you run into Kieran?
Did you run into Kieran?
Hey, back off.
See Blockhead in the corner, yeah, ran into him a couple of times. But yeah, definitely like to think ahead. It doesn't even have to be like where do you want to go and what you want to be, but think about the impact about what you're doing is going to have on next week, next month, next year. Is it going to negatively impact you or is it going to help you?
Perfect. His Royal Highness. Would you like to?
Yeah, I'm going to pick up that nickname from now on, aren't I?
Yeah. You'll be introduced on like the footnote of this, featuring His Royal Highness.
HRH.
HRH speak.
The Duke of Sussex.
He's got the longest hands ever, hasn't he?
Yeah. Someone picked up on your youth video. There's a little caveat. I love that word. You know the youth video that you put up. You put your thumb up, and it's genuinely like a cheese string. It's like it comes up at this angle. I have never seen a thumb that long in my life.
A thumb that fits Toff's arms.
Yeah, exactly. Well, nothing beats the length of my arm.
You said called
orangutan.
My hands are quite big. Yeah.
Amazing.
Quite common fingers.
Right. Hit us, Ryan.
So starting off lifting, I think the first time I ever set foot in the gym was 16, I think. I went with my stepmom because she used to go on the cross trainer. So that's what I did for about 6 months. I went with my stepmom and sat on the cross trainer and never really went into the weight section. Decided one day to go by myself and sort of just sat on the machines for a bit, did some arms, did some legs, that sort of thing. Did that for about a year. I think I mentioned to you boys the other day, like talk about like asking the right people. I didn't have anyone to ask. So for me, everything was an experiment and sort of what I'd seen on the internet, what I'd seen other people doing. And so at that time, I did a lot of football. I did a lot of running as well. So my pre-gym routine was me having a protein shake, running to the gym, which is about 5K. So I ran to the gym with protein shake in hand, full of whole fat milk.
Oh.
Then I go and do a weight session. having just drank all this milk, and then I'd run 5k back. So it was literally just the most guesstimated thing you can think of, really. God knows how I did it, because if I did that now, I'd probably just throw up after about 10 minutes.
He gets up probably like, I'm in danger, and you're running down to the gym.
Yeah, I don't know, I did it. Like, I thought it was normal. I thought everyone was doing it. But yeah, sort of did football alongside that. So I think, like most coaches, sort of wanted to go as far as they could, but got injured and didn't quite make it. So set up sights to the RAF, didn't quite make it down there, and then went to uni. And then I suppose that's when training went a bit more serious, like living with people who trained as well, who are my age. I lived with a load of rugby lads at uni, and they all like love training, love the gym, that sort of stuff. And that's when I learned a lot and put on quite a bit of size and strength, that sort of stuff, and just take it a bit more seriously. Just being surrounded by the right people, I suppose. Whereas at home, not very many people train the gym. It was just me. So I'd sort of just go around, do my own thing. Whereas I go to uni, surrounded by people doing the right thing and doing this, that, and the other. You know, just being surrounded by the right people had quite a big impact. So did that. Did my masters in strength and conditioning like Jack, but in Cardiff. And then ended up at Force, sort of helping people do a similar thing, but in a better way than I did, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah.
I suppose that's what we kind of pull on all the time, especially with the youngsters. We see them training by themselves, and we're like, yeah, well, I've been there, boys. It hurts. Try this instead. And that's kind of, I think, what I know a lot of the youngsters kind of look up to us a lot because they see us training sometimes, and they think, oh, well, they're doing it. That looks about right. Let's copy that. So I suppose we kind of be an example at times, can't we?
What was that, Luke?
I suppose, Luke, you were in that kind of age range below us, and you so.
Yeah. I was going to get onto that. I'll wait. Toff, go first. I'll get onto that.
Yeah, just to go back to the point as well about like youth training. I know it's a little bit off topic, but I think that we are quite lucky in Force with us because everyone there does like to listen and does like to learn. Like I can't think of many, if any, people who, if we say something to them or any of us, whether that be us guys, Andrew, or someone else around the gym, if we said, "Oh, look, maybe try it like that way," that they would be like, "I'm not doing that." I would say the majority of youth or young, I say youth because I'm like the same age as them, but of younger trainers do tend to listen to what the older people have got to say, which I suppose speaks volumes, really, doesn't it, for the work that's been put in over the years.
That's true. I think they appreciate the reputation that the gym brings and the area brings, and that the reputation it puts on us then, and one or two questions in and they start to respect what we kind of, not so much even what we know, but they understand that we've been there and tried it and see how it works.
Yeah.
I think that's why I enjoy coaching younger ones that much, a bit more, I think, because you get to see, like, obviously you're not going to get through to everyone, but the ones you get through to and it has a big impact, you sort of watch them and you go, yes, that worked. Like where I worked previously in the boarding school and with the academies, that sort of stuff, you sort of see it done well and you're like, oh, wow, that actually makes an impact. And like, it gives you that incentive to keep going and pushing and actually keep trying. So,
because they've got that larger potential for improvement as well. You can almost see it immediately. It's phenomenal. Like, right, with your Tuesday group, the younger ones, you make 2 or 3 cue adjustments to them and it's a different movement. It's incredible. With the under 11s I've got on a Thursday, you make 1 or 2 adjustments and it's just a completely different ball game. It's incredible.
As much as we're like, I do think that we are very fortunate with the people we've got, like we just said, about people asking us questions and people do listen to us, and we are very fortunate in that case. And we do have set courses or classes or, you know, even PT bookings, which, you know, fill up our day, and we're surrounded by people who are willing to learn. But there will always be, you know, for the amount of people that enter the gym, there will still always be those people who haven't asked the question. Who have just turned up and done their own program, or have just thought, oh, he looks busy, or and it's kind of, you know, I'd like to say the main points that we've all brought up so far would be more aimed at them lot, because the people we're referring to right now, we're chuffed with because they're doing what we think they should be doing. And it's other people who probably aren't, or may have fallen under the radar at some point.
I suppose the ones who are doing it have already asked. The ones that, as you said, the ones that fall under the radar either won't ask because they don't care, or they don't feel like they need to ask, or as you said, they're not ready to ask us. They don't feel confident to come up and ask us.
Yeah.
If like I would have said, if we're looking at this youth kind of age bracket, and even be stereotypical and say even males, if we're using our examples, like Brian said, he never had anyone to ask when he was that age. I certainly didn't see a need to ask anyone, or at least I thought I didn't need to ask anyone. Maybe the same for yourself, Jack. But I think if I could rewind the clock and train the way that us lot do now, when I was 14, 15, 16, I'd pay good money.
Yeah. I wish I trained at 18, like I train on a bad day now.
Yeah.
Like, when I can't be asked now.
If you ask the right people. Because no 12-year-old, 14-year-old is going to know, and it don't mind sound like we're blowing each other's trumpets, but no 12-year-old or 14-year-old is going to have the life experience to know what we know. So it's about picking on those people, isn't it?
Yeah.
I gotta say though, on that note, I think I'm probably a little bit different to you lot in the fact that I haven't really changed my attitude towards my training, which probably isn't a good thing. Like if someone was to ask, well, if I was to ask would I recommend training the way that I recommend? No. I train like an idiot. And
you don't program for anybody the way you train.
I do it.
The programming that I do for Kneckley Boys, Force People, there is no program with my training, like, which is an issue, but it's something that I've always used throughout my training career, and to some extent has been okay. Touch wood.
It's not serving you for anything. Is it? Like, you can't say there's no theoretical purpose behind the program. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the strongest amongst us.
Yeah, but I will literally drive down. I will drive to the gym and go like, I'm gonna squat today.
The number of times you sent me a picture, lifters on, going, screw it, I'm squatting 200.
There is no. Yeah. No, you're doing 5-3-1. No. I just want to not be able to walk.
Big disclaimer, big disclaimer. Would not recommend this for any of the members.
Do not
copy anyone but you.
You are.
You're 23 years of age.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, you think of yourself now, and you got Chris now, who's 42 today, and there's a 20-year gap there, and he still does intuitive training. And it's no different, is it? You turn up to the gym, you go, do you know what? I can squat today, and I'm going to squat today, and I feel like doing X, Y, and Z. And it's not like you blitz yourself on every exercise you do.
No.
You put all your efforts into one thing, which, like if you really think about what you're doing, you know that the main staples of a good program are deadlift, squat,
and a push,
bench, overhead press, pull-ups, and squat and deadlift are the two things you love doing, and you put your heart and soul into each one. But then, I never then see you do heavy walking lunges straight after them.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's not as if you're drilling yourself into the floor.
True. And it's been built on a foundation of years of hard work, isn't it?
Yeah. And treat your dad.
Yeah, he's not a beginner.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, with that sort of thing, I don't think we're doing anything differently, because it's kind of a cliche thing, but you do learn a lot from doing it yourself. And maybe if you do it stupidly, like, I'm sure Tough will look back in 10 years' time and think, fuck, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this. I know I do.
Hopefully not from a squat standpoint, because
yeah. Like, what did me and Luke say the other day? Talking about, like, if you're 10 years deep, can't remember the exact words we used, but if you're 10 years deep and you haven't picked up some kind of small injury from your training, have you really tried all aspects that you could? Have you really tried hard enough in certain areas? Like, you look at, like, was it Louis Simmons said somebody's going to get hurt?
Yeah. Is Luke just saying that because he's managed to break his back with every rep that he's done this year?
Picking up his phone off the floor.
Think about it though, like, if you looked at injury as a failure, then, like, they say failure is the first attempt in learning. And like, I do strongly believe that, and this is only myself, like, I wouldn't, I'm not saying I'm the best or anything, or I know everything, but I certainly wouldn't be where I am today without my injuries.
Yeah.
Because my
Yeah,
injuries
100%.
have
Yeah.
taught me lessons, and my injuries have made me seek to understand more. And that's kind of, they've almost created more of a passion for things. I mean, because it's made things more interesting. And I know that sounds really weird.
I think that as soon as you pick up any injury, like regardless of the severity of that injury, you're always going to have that subconscious warning there, like almost like the central governance theory, you know, Noakes, which said that there's an internal internal thing inside you that stops you pushing yourself to the ultimate limit, because you don't want to break. Your body knows that it can't break down. So, for example, when I did the grade 2 tear on my left hamstring rack pulling, I know that I probably never get, or will never push myself to that load or volume of a rack pull again, because deep down I'm like, last time my hamstring went poppy ping when I did that, and I don't want to be doing.
What were you going? What were you lifting by the way?
What was it?
On your warm up.
It was probably a small car or something, was it?
It was on my 8th rep of 250 on a rack pull.
Oh, warm time, happy days.
Yeah, but bear in mind, my rack pulls are about that much of a pull because of the length of my arm.
I was going to say,
You're a hairy orc.
Gimli. God.
My axe.
Some kind of white Hulk. It's unbelievable. I have like full blown, like front row young rugby lads that are like, giving every ounce they've got to a barbell for weeks on end. You walk in after being 6 days with no sleep because of university, and I'm going to pull 220 for 4. And I'm like,
I got to be. I do think that there's a blend here, where you've got this stress, because like I don't know if you all agree, but to me, stress is stress. So the stress of on your nervous system of doing like a max effort squat to drilling yourself into the ground over an essay or an exam. Not the same force.
All cumulative, sure.
That's the stress. I mean, so if you're going through both of them at the same time, you're asking for trouble. I mean, so if you're going through, and I do think that as human beings, we do stuff instinctively. Like if you were going through some really stressful point in your life, you find that you drop off the gym. It's because your body's telling you can't handle both of these at the same time. Back off.
Yeah. You can't physically produce the output, can you? You don't have the capacity for it.
Yeah, and vice versa. Do you mean?
It's a safety mechanism, like you said. It's that idea of something's going to break, whether it's mental or physical, if you keep pushing this stress level. And that's what stress is, isn't it? It's the difference between the input and your ability to cope with that input is the level of stress you're under. So if you've got high input, you're not going to be able, and you can't cope with it, then your body's like, well, no, you can bugger off. You're not having A and B. It's A or B.
Would you say, though, that just to play devil's advocate on that point there, because I would say for myself, your stress input is equal to your stress output as well, because I find when I've got the highest levels of stress, sometimes my lifting capabilities, my uni work, my work performance is higher. I like that feeling of literally redlining all the time. Like now that we're all in this shutdown period where we're not doing anything, I don't know what to do.
There's an optimum level for everyone, isn't there? Like I know, we all take the mick out of each other for our schedules and bits and pieces, but I'm better with a set sleep, up early, busy in the mornings, blah, blah, blah. Like Toff, you're quite good on a few busy weeks and then a blowout and a sleep. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like we all work quite well. And You've got an optimum level, haven't you?
Yeah. I would say a great clip that summarizes my life is the scene from Family Guy that we all love when Peter is on drugs and he goes, why is there a hole in the wall? And he just punches it and he's just running around and falls out the window. That's exactly how I feel that I live my life and need to live my life. Just constantly just running about and
crystal meth.
Mental. Mine is a crystal meth.
Your head is just like,
yeah.
No, it's us right now. Just like that.
It's just neurons like all firing inside my head.
Like a scene from The Flash, it's electricity bouncing around the inside of your skull constantly.
Yeah, it's like You right?
I'll never forget you coming in to that staff meeting and Chris was talking about presentations. You were midway through everything. You were trying to sort everything out. And he said presentations, you damn near had a stroke right in front of us.
I felt my heart leave my body at that point.
That was potentially over your red line.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, definitely was.
Definitely. Oh, good times.
I want to hear about your sporting journey, Toff.
Oh, yeah.
God. Yeah.
Come on, tell us. This is a good one.
My sporting journey. I think, again, for those who don't know me, I kind of have always got to push myself to do everything to the best. It can never just be to do it to take part, which is probably something that, again, would be something that I would like to change about myself. But I started playing rugby, I think, as every Valleys boy did, 6 or 7. My old man was a very good rugby player. My mother loved rugby. Rugby was just in the family. So I started playing for the local club, as I said, about 6 or 7, and then gradually progressed then through those age grades. When we got to like under 11s, started to get involved into like player pathway systems. And then it was kind of at that point that everyone around me was saying, oh, you could be a good rugby player. You could be a good rugby player. So from that minute on, then I just obsessed over rugby. And obviously growing up being a diabetic as well, I think a few health issues sort of came into play then when it came to sport, because for one reason or another I just started to pile the weight on. Probably me not putting the food down, to be honest. Nothing to do with my diabetes, just the fact that I had fast hands when it came to cake. I just loved the grub, yeah.
Faster hands than feet.
So I think I was you say that again. Crash ball off 10 step. I think at the age of 14 then was probably when 13 was probably when I was at my peak size and overweight. And then I can remember it was a pre-season in the Ospreys player pathway, and they said to me, look, if you need to lose weight, otherwise your career is not going to, you're not going to have a career in sport whatsoever. I think that was all I needed to know. And from that moment on, then I just absolutely obsessed with fitness and losing weight. And as I sort of progressed through that fitness and weight loss journey, my priorities started to move away from sport. Well, I wanted them to coincide. So I essentially wanted to be like your Haskell, your James Haskell, or lean, shredded, but a really good rugby player as well. And then I can remember going back then for the under 16 season and being told by the Ospreys coach that I was a bit too fit now. I probably needed to put another 2 stone back on.
Yeah.
So at that point then was when I thought, you know what?
Sorry,
I'm not playing rugby anymore. I've just come down and lost like 3 stone, and now you want me to put another 2 back on. From there, in the meantime of that, I did a bit of judo, did a bit of martial arts and stuff. So did that to a decent level. But again, I think my orangutan arms used to choke me out more than anyone else.
Count the sport as he goes through, boys.
Yeah.
How old were you? Was that you too big or too small? Like,
I was too big when I was 14, and then I was too small when I was 16. 17, so going into the 18 season actually. Yeah, 17, so going into the 18s. Still got that email. I look at it every day.
Not bitter at all.
It's on a dartboard, and I'm just like,
one of these days, coach. One of these days.
One of these days.
I will avenge you.
He's gonna go back pre-season now.
Yeah. So yeah. In the meantime, when I was losing weight was probably when I started to really pick up on the fitness and the training element. Then I remember boxing. I had a great boxing coach, Dan Chapman, who was probably one of the best boxers at the time. In Europe, he was supposed to be going to the Olympics, and then he fell off his motorbike 2 weeks before and broke his leg. And yeah, he's not boxed since. Well, he's a bare knuckle boxer now. So he taught me a lot about how to lose fat, really. Yeah. But to be honest with you, he was probably one of the most shredded people I knew at that time. So that's where my priorities really swapped, and I wanted to look like Dan then, who was just lean and just incredible Nick. That was the first place I deadlifted, was in Dan's gym. So my first experience of lifting weights was in Dan's gym, and I've got the video on my phone.
I've seen it.
The first time that I ever deadlifted. So I'd ever picked up a bar, and I deadlifted 140 kilos. Granted, I looked like Quasimodo.
Class.
It was Kai Flife was truly born then. And then so boxed still with Dan, still played a little bit of rugby. Probably one of the I was the fittest front rower in college rugby at one point, from the testing that we did like down the Vale and that, if I can remember rightly. And then after I moved from Dan's gym to a gym which opened behind my house was when lifting really took off. I met a few great coaches up there when it came to lifting. So I competed in Olympic weightlifting. That was probably about 6 months after I started Olympic weightlifting. I did the Welsh schools and I won that. Broke the 3 Welsh records. When I was doing that. Don't ask me to do it now because I can't come my arms above my head. So let alone get into a snatch position.
He's one of those people that when you were a kid, you used to look at him and be like,
yeah, I got a face like a drop lasagna, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So after weightlifting, I fractured my scaphoid 2 days before the competition, before the lift, showing off in college, cleaning far more than I could clean. I got stuck into the bottom and broke my scaphoid. So I did the competition with a flexi cast on. So this side was stuck and this one was like a little bit soggy because I had a normal wrist and this one was just fixed in that position. Yeah, and they were excuse me, what have you got on your wrist? I was like, I broke my hand. And they were like, what? Yeah.
Pointed to it as you walk on, like.
Yeah. So after weightlifting was when I started college, and when I started college was when I got involved in my first proper S&C program with Spencer Fuge. Ryan, I think you know Spencer, don't you?
Swansea.
Yeah, and he's with Swansea Swimming. Wales Swimming.
Yeah, from Wales now.
Spencer was a great coach, to be fair, far ahead of his time with us, if that makes sense, because as you've said, Jack, boys just wanted to train chest and arms. There was no, they couldn't be asked with following like a small off or or anything like that. Because I remember he put me on small off, and I squatted
small off.
Yeah, I squatted 190 when I was 16 on small off. It wasn't very deep though. I wouldn't have given myself a lift now, but still to get that load on your back.
No,
it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. So I finished off that season in rugby then, and when I finished that season was the season I got into bodybuilding properly, and I committed myself to competing in that. So I did one season which was crap, and we'll forget about that because I looked like a blancmange on stage. I didn't really diet. I paid lip service. I paid lip service to dieting, and I looked awful. But then I remember taking a slightly darker note on this one. But then I finished with my current missus at that time, and it was the usual, the stereotypical. That's it. I'm going to get massive and shredded now. I took that to the nth degree and won Mr. Britain.
I'll show her.
I'm not sure who came off worse from that, to be honest. Her ego,
I'll ruin
all my endocrine system, probably my endocrine system, because I didn't recover for about 3 years after that. So from like an education standpoint, after college, I took a year out. Took that year out really just to sort of work. So I worked as a PT from the age of 15, and then I worked that year after college in a gym. And then during that time, I sort of realised if I wanted to progress my career in coaching, which I did want to, or sport at that time, you kind of do need to look to further education, whether that's a degree or a master's or something. Mm-hmm. So I followed in my brother's footsteps and went down sports science at Swansea. So I took a year out and then did Swansea uni, carried on working in the gym at that time. What came next then? So yeah, so I competed the second year of uni again, not third year of uni again. End of second. So and I won a couple of like physique shows around that time. And that summer then, I was lucky enough to get an internship with the Scarlets as like an S&C coach. So I spent the whole pre-season down there with them, and that's the time then that I left the gym that I worked in my stake Unique. They kind of worked down in Force just because it allowed me a little bit more flexibility with hours, and I also got to coach a lot more and be around more coaches because I wasn't coaching when when I was in Unique. It was just literally I'd go in and train and like tidy up. I loved it, but I weren't coaching. And then after my internship, then I was lucky enough that they offered me a role with the RSC, so the semi-pro team, and I've been working as the S&C coach for them down in Force since then. I'm doing a master's now in performance nutrition, which should be finished in September if we don't all catch corona.
Just say it. Shh.
Is that word banned from the podcast?
Yeah.
Is it like if you say it 3 times in the mirror, like when you went to Llangrannog, and you like say,
I heard that one as well.
"Oh, the black nun, the black nun." You'd be like, "Ah!" Someone flicked the light back. I was, "Oh my God, it's there!"
You said Llangrannog and Ryan was like, "Wait,
Wait, did a cat sit on the keyboard when they wrote that? And then in my undergrad there, my final year paper was a nutrition-based one, and hopefully as of today, that's now being formally written up for publication as well. Because I actually replied to the lecturer's email and sent him some more data that he needed, and I didn't see that email about 6 months ago. I know. So from my own training standpoint now, I just go in, I train very intuitively, as we said, strength-based, but I love conditioning and cardio as well. I've competed in some triathlons, some longer distance stuff. But at the minute, I think it's just purely focused on strength and aesthetics, to be fair. Just no general goal, just look better, move better, be stronger, just be a unit, to be honest. That's
legs, bums and tums, pretty much.
Yeah, legs, bums and tums in the garden with some rubber bands. That's currently where we are. But again, if I was
60 kilos for 100 reps.
One thing that I would probably say definitely to my younger self is pick something and stick at it. Don't be me and be like a fitness butterfly or a sporting butterfly and try and bounce around different things, because you can become a jack of all trades, be a master of nothing eventually then.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a little bit extreme, but when I dedicated 100% to bodybuilding, then the results paid off. And for a minute, I was one of the best natural bodybuilders in Britain. So that's something that I would totally say, just make sure if you're going to pick something, you stick to it and see it through, because it doesn't happen overnight. The amount of time we've all done this, haven't we? Thought, I'm going to go for a run, I'll do 20 sets of sit-ups and I'm going to be shredded.
Yeah.
That definitely doesn't work like that.
So, conversation we were having the other day, didn't it? When we were saying, like, Ryan said it, I said it, and I don't know if any of the rest of you said it, but like probably in my late teens, early 20s, I used to have a 17.5k dumbbell in my room, and I used to just rep it till I failed, swap arms, rep it till I failed, swap arms, rep it till I failed, kept doing that. Then I'd do as max press-ups as I could, get back up, do more curls, get back down, do more press-ups.
Yeah.
I wanted a massive pump before I went to bed.
Yeah.
How did you say that?
Lying in bed, like
just like that.
Popeye, like.
Yeah. So young Lucas.
Yeah, so I'll go over I'm looking down because I made a little timeline on my phone.
Ooh.
Yeah, someone's doing well.
A little bit of the timeline.
Where should I start? Sports career. Swimming, cross country was like the first ones, I think, sport-wise, and I was like 9, 10, I think. And then football took over, like big football family. So that's what really I took to most. Bounced around a couple of academies, not really good enough, not really strong enough.
Did you play for Luke?
Cardiff and Bristol.
Did you?
Oh, okay.
No, then.
I did not know that.
See, we need to ask more questions, don't we?
What positions were you, Luke? What did you play?
Always centre mid. Best position to be in.
Okay.
100%. Bristol.
I think I know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Anywhere in midfield.
Full skulls.
Kick it.
Yeah. Let him know you're there.
No, you're there.
To the wings.
Yeah.
To the wings.
Have a shot.
It's in the halfway lunch.
Have a pop, go on.
That's the keeper.
He's off his line.
Oh, the number of times I said test the keeper as a centre half.
Oh, sorry, Luke.
I've lost my train of thought now. So then did that to about 16. I think it was 16 when I joined the gym.
Last weekend.
I was lucky. I think the first things I was It was stuff I saw on YouTube. So that was like Elliot Hulse. Don't know why it was him, but Ash was the one I ended up following. But yeah, probably like a lot of young people, quite impatient. Didn't stick to things for long enough. So yeah, like Toff said, bounced about from program to program, still like I do now.
No, you're on juggernaut with me, mate.
Yeah, you're good at sticking to programs. That's one thing. Like you definitely stick to programs.
I don't know.
Well, saying 5-3-1, you changed the bench to dips. Apart from that, we'll gloss over that.
Ryan's still bitter about that.
Dips are not a compound move. Change my mind.
You always do low reps. You always do pull-ups. You always do dips. You always squat. You always deadlift. You always do a single leg.
Always hit your back.
Yeah,
we do always stick to the same philosophy every time you train.
I stick to the same exercises.
Yeah,
I have
get much
favourite exercises
or percentages or anything like that, do you?
Yeah, I change percentages a lot, but I think I stick to my exercises. But maybe that's a bad thing. Like I stick to like all my programs look very similar, I guess.
Yeah,
not very. A topic for another time, I think. I like that thought.
But yeah, so looking at like YouTube in Elliot Hulse probably sparked coaching interest. So yeah, I finished school at 18, started interning at Athletic Development Wales, where I did my level 2 and 3 PT courses. From there, started interning at Force. I did my youth S&C badge, and currently doing my level 4 S&C, and I've just signed my first contract as an official coach, I guess.
Well, no, that's...
There's Luke.
Welcome to the gang.
Keith, that wine's not lasting long, mate.
No, I'm going to go get another one now. You know what? I haven't gone to get my second glass of wine because I didn't want to leave when any of you were talking. So, continue.
But now Luke's talking.
But now Luke's talking.
Yes, I think I'm in probably a pretty good position at the minute because I got probably no total of 15. I've probably only worked like 15 coaches ever, and I think 13 of them have got masters potentially. 12, 13. So I think I'm in not a bad position to be in at the minute in terms of places to work. So that's me.
Yeah, good man.
Nice little synopsis there.
Yeah, I was going to say, in all fairness, like how old do you know, Luke?
20.
Yeah, so like you think like where myself, Jack, Ryan, and Doc were when we were 20, like you're in a good position, I'd say.
Yeah.
I was doing bench and then getting a McDonald's on the way home.
When I was 20 was when I qualified as a personal trainer, and I was working in the Vale Hotel, and I didn't have a Scooby what I was doing.
Yeah. That's what I think.
You know, way more than what I did at 20.
Ah, God, yeah.
Yeah, so I think. Yeah, I think at the minute, because I'm lucky, whereas I've got 13, 14 coaches all. So if there's things that I don't know, like gaps in theory I don't know, I've got loads of contacts to question and theory stuff.
To be fair, you are always asking as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. Like the number of times I've been like, shit, he's asked me a question. I need to know why I'm doing this.
It's like, I'll get back to you on that one. 3 working day response.
Yeah.
I'm busy, Luke.
Yeah, because I said so.
Stirring a cup of tea. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Pour in the kettle.
Yeah, just so. Amazing.
Yeah,
I love that.
I like that, boys. I like that.
Yeah, happy with that.
Concluding points, take homes.
Yeah, Keith, you give your wrap up for your one. I'm going the same order as it.
My one, seek advice. Don't be ignorant, especially for males, and be a little bit more. How can I say? I don't want to say intuitive, but be a bit more mindful of what you're doing. Okay, don't just that kind of ties into being ignorant, I guess. But be more mindful. Ask people who you know what they're on about, and always seek to understand before you do something. Don't just go like a bull in a china shop because you'll break things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Me next.
Yeah.
Think ahead. like step by step. Everything for me is step by step. Like the entire strength and conditioning field has procedures and step by steps in it. So just think about what you're doing and think about what the next step is. Does step A lead to step B to C, D, E? Otherwise, it's pointless.
Cool. Spatey, get off Tinder.
Ryan Spike.
Not
That's your real name.
HRH. I suppose, yeah, like you said, just don't be afraid to ask questions of other people, ask the why behind things. But like, I think something that we've all done in some different aspect is like explore as well. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, because I think as good as like masters and stuff is and stuff like that, like nothing beats like getting under a bar and actually learning stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, it takes like getting crack a few shells to make an omelette, I suppose, in a lot of aspects.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, yeah.
Love analogy.
I like that.
Yeah, I love analogy. Yeah,
Mm.
quotes.
Tasty.
Mm.
Yeah, that's probably my.
Tough.
Yeah, so mine would be don't be a butterfly when it comes to your fitness to a great extent. Pick something, try and be as good as you can at it, try and master your art at that, and it doesn't happen overnight. Don't be afraid to commit yourself fully to something, but also saying that, don't be afraid to try new challenges along the way as well. So commitment to a goal or a task, I would say.
Cool. Lukey.
What might be? I'd say like try and make relationships or work with people that know more than you, I guess.
You're only as good as the people you're surrounded by.
Yeah, and try and, I guess, try and surround yourself with people who know more than you. Ask lots of questions. I think I've learned more from probably asking questions from people I've worked with than I have in any of courses I've done. I think.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
100%.
Good point.
Because
Yeah,
people just explain things differently, and like someone explains something one way, you don't get it, and then someone else explains it another way, and it clicks, or give you something that makes you click in your head a bit better. So yeah, that's
keep asking.
Yeah, keep asking.
Cool. Enjoyed that, boys.
One of the things I was thinking of earlier as well, which I forgot to mention, was, and we kind of talked about it briefly, was some of the bigger S&C coaches that I follow and that I kind of look up to, they all say the same thing. Every coach needs a coach. So if you're not a coach, you definitely need some form of coaching.
Yeah.
So if a coach needs a coach, general public needs one. And I'm not that's not saying everyone needs to pay for personal training. And that's just saying that everyone needs help and advice.
Yeah.
So
even if that is just looking at a YouTube video like Luke did, or scrolling through Instagram to see coaching cues, that's coaching essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, guys.
Good work, lads.
I really enjoyed this.
I did enjoy that. Jack, can we give you an official well done?
Thank you very much. Yeah,
congratulations, Mr. Spillett, the latest addition to. No, would you like to tell them?
Yeah, I had an email earlier, lads. Passed my UKSCA.
Yay!
Yeah, both done. Woo!
Oh, wait to
Multiple dab.
Multiple dab. So it's done. No more. Please. Thanks, mate.
Awesome stuff.
No more. Please.
Should we record another one at the same time next week? Because I quite enjoyed that.
I'm okay.
Yes.
Take a few beers in next time.
I'm going to get a pint as well now, I think.
You can't have any more cider left.
No. Right. Awesome stuff, boys. Bye.
Bye. Bye, driver.
Bye, boys.